Adding and subtracting rational expressions. Example 4. In this example, we have 7 over a plus 5 plus 5 over a minus 4. In this example, we have different denominators. When we have unlike denominators, our first step is to factor the denominators. A plus 5 is already factored. When we look and create our common denominator, we will have that a plus 5 as one of the factors in our common denominator. When we look at the second fraction, a minus 4 is already factored, and we'll have a minus 4 in our common denominator. Next, we want to look and see how we can change each fraction so that it becomes or has the common denominator that our answer must have. What we want to notice is the parts that match and what I call the missing parts. As we look here, we can see from the first fraction that the a plus 5 and the a plus 5 match. What we should notice is that the common denominator has an a minus 4, but our first fraction is what I call missing the a minus 4. So what we want to do is multiply by that a minus 4 so that it has the common denominator. But the only way we can do so and multiply by an a minus 4 is if we also multiply by an a minus 4 on top. Doing so really is multiplying by a factor of 1. Now, we won't get into this every time that we do one of these problems. We won't emphasize that every time. What we're really talking about here is a process that allows us to do this, and then from now on we'll just kind of do it with that assumption that what we do to the bottom we do to the top, which will let us fix our denominators and proceed with this problem. The other thing I want you to notice is how much room I left with each of these fractions. These problems will take up a lot of room, and leave yourself that room to work. Now, the next thing we want to do, and I'm just going to bring this over here to work, notice that leaves us the 7 times the a minus 4. It's the top of that fraction times the missing factor. Now I'm going to erase out these parts right here. These are the parts that you'll think. You can use your finger to kind of trace those, and you'll notice that I kind of lost part of what I didn't need to lose. So let me add those back in. And let's match up the second part. As we look here, the a minus 4 matches up, but what doesn't match up and what is missing is this part doesn't have the a plus 5. And since it's missing the a plus 5, if I multiply by a plus 5 on the bottom, I will need to multiply by the a plus 5 on the top. Again, that equality that we must show. What we do to the top, we must do to the bottom. Notice the next thing that I want to do is bring over whatever signs here, whether it is a plus or a minus, a subtract or an addition, and bring that over. That will allow me to watch my signs if it's a subtract and take care of that sign. Next step would be to use my distributive property so that I can begin to simplify just the top and add and subtract my like terms. But first, we always do our distributive property. So it's going to give me 7a minus 28 plus 5a plus 25, and then adding the like terms, 7a plus 5a gives me 12a, a negative 28 and a positive 25, gives me a minus 3. I could factor out a 3, but if I factor out a 3, I'm left with a 4a minus 1, which will not divide out with anything. So I don't need to do that. I can just leave it then for my answer, which would be 12a minus 3 over a plus 5 a minus 4.